What's going on, guys? Today we're talking about buyer's market and seller's market and what that means for you as a home buyer or home seller, coming up right after this. Here for another video. If this is your first time tuning into my YouTube channel, welcome. My name is Alex. I'm a top producer real estate agent out here in Washington State, and I designed this whole YouTube channel around real estate. So if you want to learn more about real estate and ultimately learn how to make money through real estate, well then think about hitting that subscribe button down there. And now on to the video you're waiting for. This video we're going over buyer's market and seller's market. I'm sure you've heard your real estate agent say it. Maybe you've heard it around, seen it on the internet, and you have no idea what it means and how it translates to you when you're putting together an offer or you're trying to sell your house. So hopefully this video can help. To start off, a buyer's market is when supply exceeds demand, and vice versa. A seller's market is when demand exceeds supply. So for example, right now in Washington State, we've been in a seller's market for quite some time now. Inventory is extremely low. It's almost under 1 month of inventory at certain price points. And when I say months of inventory, if you're kind of scratching your head, what months of inventory means is that if all real estate transactions stopped today and there was 1 month of inventory on the market, it would take 1 month to sell out of all that inventory. As with any business, supply and demand drives everything within the business. This is the same as real estate, and it can affect you as a buyer or a seller. So to start off, a buyer's market. Let's say there's tons of inventory out there on the market, right? A large amount of supply, and demand is gonna stay steady, right? So what this means is if you are a seller, well, you better price your property correctly, because there's gonna be a lot of competition out there, and there's gonna be a lot of similar properties the same as yours on the market. So what do you do to differentiate yourself? Well, maybe you do a marketing video. And this is where you've probably seen, these top real estate agents in New York or Miami. They're doing these ridiculous property videos where they're rapping, they're doing these music videos. Well, this is most likely because it's a buyer's market, right? So you need to take the attention of the buyer into the property because there's just so much supply out there for them to look at. For a good rule of thumb, and this kind of changes from person to person, but 0 to 4 months of inventory is known as a seller's market. Now, 5 months to 8 months of inventory is a neutral, healthy, balanced market is what we can call it. And then anything over 9 months of inventory, standing inventory, would be considered a buyer's market. So now this might make some sense. Me being in the Puget Sound, at some price points, lower price points, we're seeing almost a half a month of inventory. This basically means we're virtually sold out. Everything that's coming on the market is selling. So what does this mean for you being in a seller's market if you're trying to buy a house? Well, the first thing you need to understand is that houses are gonna sell fast. So if you find a house that you like, you better act quick or it's gonna be sold. Second, you better be pre-approved and you better be fully underwritten, because you have to know that all the buyers coming to that property will probably have that pre-approval. And if you don't, well then the seller is just gonna throw your offer in the trash and you're gonna have no chance at all. On a seller's market, it can be very frustrating for buyers, especially in the peak of summer when people are moving, the most transactions are happening, right? And you find a house that you love and then there's 20 offers on the property, or 10 offers, or whatever it might be. Some of them might be all cash, some of them might be $50,000 over ask. So that's what you have to know going into a seller's market, is that you better be ready to put your best foot forward, put the best offer out there with the best terms, and have all your ducks in a row before you start shopping for a house. On the other end of this, let's talk about a buyer's market. So when supply exceeds demand, what happens in a buyer's market? Well, for example, we can look at New York City. Right now they're in a buyer's market. They have so much inventory that it's basically the days on market for properties at certain price points are over a year, right? So all these listing agents are sitting on these properties for so long just because there's so much inventory out and there's only a limited amount of buyers that want to buy these properties. The buyer's market favors the buyer because of this, right? Because you're going to find desperate sellers that want their money, and maybe their property's been on for a year or 2 years with very limited activity, because simply there's just more inventory on the market and maybe more similar properties like theirs that maybe buyers like, whatever the reason might be. Maybe they're overpriced a little bit. So for you out there as a buyer, you can negotiate a great deal in a buyer's market, and at the higher price points, you could shave off $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 on a deal, and the seller might accept it because they just are very desperate, they need their cash, and they sat on the property for maybe a year or 2 years. Now, speaking generally, normally in a buyer's market, we see appreciation rates slow a little bit. And then when we're in a seller's market, so very limited inventory, like where I'm at now in the Puget Sound, less than 1 month of inventory, we see appreciation actually accelerate a little bit because there's so much transactions, and properties are flipping over one after another. They can't stay on the market for more than 3, 4, or 5 days. And actually we've seen a 2x amount in appreciation for 2019. If you look back from the 2018 figure, we're actually 2 times up for 2019. If you're getting ready to go look out and buy a house, or maybe you're trying to look at what price can I get for my house. Well, I would really highly recommend talking to a real estate agent if you don't understand these terms and understand the hyperlocal market that you're located in, because being in a buyer's market or a seller's market, can be very confusing. And what does that mean for the price of your property, or what does that mean for you as a buyer? So definitely talk with your real estate agent wherever you are located in the country, to determine, are you in a buyer's market? Are you in a healthy market? Or are you in a seller's market? Because it really does change, what side you're on. Are you trying to buy a house, or are you trying to sell a house? There you guys have it. I know that was a quick video, but hopefully that helped you understand the basic concept of a buyer's market, a seller's market, and what that means for you as a seller or a buyer in the marketplace. And hey, if you got any value out of this video, hit that like button down there and put a comment if you're still confused. I would love to connect with you guys and help you out. So stay tuned for the future videos coming soon, and we'll see you guys then.